The black luxury car rolled to a slow stop in front of the quiet suburban house, its engine humming softly like a distant memory. Daniel Hayes gripped the steering wheel with trembling fingers, staring at the familiar front porch. The mailbox was still a little crooked, just as it had been 5 years ago. The rose bush Emily had planted was now taller, wild, untamed, much like the silence that had grown between them. He took a deep breath, trying to steady his heartbeat, but the weight in his chest only grew heavier. This house had once been his home. Their home. Every brick held whispers of late-night laughter, shared dreams, and fights that had ended with warm embraces. Now it stood as a quiet stranger, a reminder of what ambition had cost him. He stepped out of the car, the crisp autumn air cutting against his skin. A swirl of dried leaves brushed past his shoes, like time itself reminding him how long he had been gone. Daniel's reflection in the car window startled him. He saw a man with sharp features, dressed in a tailored suit, successful, polished, yet behind those eyes lived a storm of regret. In his hand, he held a small velvet box. It wasn't expensive jewelry. It was something far more personal, something that carried 5 years of unspoken words. He walked slowly up the path, each step feeling heavier than the last. His heart raced with memories of the night he left, the way Emily's voice had cracked when she said, "Don't walk away." But he did. He had chased wealth, leaving love behind. Now, standing at her doorstep again, Daniel wasn't sure if he was here to fix the past or to finally face it. When Daniel knocked on the door, the sound was softer than he expected, but to Emily, it felt like a thunderclap echoing through the walls of her quiet life. She froze with her hands wrapped around the chipped mug of tea, its warmth long gone. For years, she had imagined this moment, what she'd say if he ever returned, how she'd look at him, whether her heart would feel anger or nothing at all. Yet, when the knock came, everything inside her turned still. She opened the door slowly, her breath catching in her throat. There he was, Daniel. Not the struggling, restless man she had once loved, but someone more polished, someone the world would call successful. His suit was tailored, his hair perfectly combed, but it was his eyes that made her chest tighten. They carried the same storm they once shared. "Hi, Em," he said softly, like someone afraid the wind might carry the words away. Her lips parted, but no sound escaped. Her silence wasn't anger alone, it was years of hurt layered with memories she never truly let go of. In an instant, she remembered everything. The night he left with a suitcase and ambition in his eyes, the endless nights she waited for a call that never came, and the tears that dried without answers. Daniel stepped closer, unsure of how much distance was too much now. He saw the small changes around the house, the porch light still flickering, the old wind chime still hanging. It felt painfully familiar. Emily's fingers tightened on the doorframe. She wanted to slam it shut, to protect herself from the storm he always brought. But she didn't. She just stood there, eyes locked with his, two souls caught between what was and what could never be the same again. Daniel stepped into the house with quiet hesitation, as if every inch of the floor carried memories he had no right to walk on anymore. The air was faintly scented with lavender, the same fragrance Emily used to spray on the curtains every Sunday morning. It hit him like a wave, dragging him back to a time when laughter filled these walls instead of silence. He glanced around. Nothing much had changed. The same soft beige walls. The wooden table with small scratches from their clumsy dinners. The photo frame on the shelf, their wedding picture, still stood in the same spot. He hadn't expected that. For a moment, his throat tightened, and the polished, powerful man he had become felt small and undeserving. Emily sat on the couch, arms folded, a careful distance between them. She wasn't the woman he left behind. There was a quiet strength in her now, something steady and cold. "I know I don't deserve to be here," Daniel said, his voice low. "But I need to talk to you." She gave a small, bitter laugh. "Talk, Daniel, after 5 years. He looked down at his hands, unable to meet her gaze. "I spent years chasing success, thinking it would make everything right. But the higher I climbed, the emptier it got. Every night, I thought of this house, of you." Emily clenched her jaw. She wanted to stay strong, but hearing his voice tremble made something inside her ache. He lifted his eyes to hers, raw with regret. "I lost everything that mattered before I even knew I had it." The silence between them thickened, not from indifference, but from all the love, anger, and grief buried deep beneath their scars. She wasn't ready to forgive. But neither could she turn away. Daniel reached into the pocket of his coat with a hand that trembled more than he wanted to admit. Emily watched him closely, suspicion flickering behind her guarded eyes. When he pulled out the small velvet box, she frowned. It looked delicate, untouched by time, almost like something kept safe through storms. He placed it gently on the coffee table between them, not pushing it toward her, not demanding she take it, just setting it down as if it carried the weight of 1,000 unsaid words. I didn't come here to buy forgiveness, he whispered, his voice rough and honest. I came here to give back something that always belonged to you. She hesitated, then leaned forward, her fingers brushing the edge of the box. The simple touch sent a shiver through her chest. When she opened it, she froze. Inside, resting softly on a velvet cushion, was a single silver house key, the key to the house they once dreamed of growing old in. I never sold it, Daniel said, eyes lowering. I never changed anything inside. Your plants are still by the kitchen window. The curtains you loved are still hanging. I went there sometimes, just to hear the silence you left behind. I told myself it was just a place, but it wasn't. It was you. Emily's hands shook slightly as she stared at the key. Memories of laughter, shared coffee mornings, and whispered promises filled her mind like sunlight seeping through a crack in the wall. This wasn't about a house. It was about everything they lost. He swallowed hard. I don't know if I deserve another chance. I just wanted you to know. I never let go. Something in her chest cracked open. Not forgiveness, but something softer, the beginning of it. For a long time, the only sound in the room was the quiet ticking of the clock on the wall. Emily stared at the key in her hand, its silver surface catching the warm light from the lamp. Her fingers curled around it tightly, as if it carried the heartbeat of an old, fragile promise. Daniel sat across from her, motionless, afraid that the slightest movement might shatter the delicate moment that hung between them. She finally lifted her gaze. Her eyes glistened, not with fresh pain, but with memories that had never faded completely. You kept it. All this time. She whispered. Her voice trembled, but it was the first thing she had said to him that wasn't laced with anger. Daniel nodded, his own eyes wet with years of regret. Because it was never just a key. It was us. It was home. I kept hoping that one day, I'd have the courage to bring it back to you. Emily inhaled slowly, the weight of the past pressing down on her. 5 years. 5 long years of silence, of convincing herself that she didn't need him, of building walls to keep the pain away. But now, sitting across from the man she once loved more than anything, she could feel those walls beginning to crack. I don't know if we can go back, she said softly. Too much has changed. Daniel's voice was steady but vulnerable. Then maybe we don't go back. Maybe we start again. For the first time in years, a faint, fragile smile tugged at the corners of her lips. She didn't give him an answer, but she didn't push him away either. In that quiet room, their silence no longer felt like distance. It felt like a door, slowly opening.